So, like I said earlier, okay, all right. My name is Celestine Steven. So, I'm a full stack developer. So, but I major with PHP. I write Laravel as well. Then I write a bit of CodeCamp. That's some other PHP framework other than Laravel. Okay, so for today, not just today, I'll be taking you through PHP. All right. So for your stay in KodeCamp, I'll be taking you through PHP. So if you're in the backend track, and you're in PHP, so automatically you should know that I'll be your tutor throughout your stay here. All right. So for today, basically all we'll be talking about is just basic introduction to backend technology. All right. So with PHP focus. All right. So I'll start by explaining what backend is. Okay. So backend. Okay. All right. So like I said, I'll start by explaining what a backend is, backend development is. All right. So backend mostly refers to any parts of either a website or a software program, you understand, that has to do with the parts where the user cannot see, where changes the user cannot see directly. All right. So, but in this case, I'll be narrowing it down to yes, I'm sharing my screen, Rose. Rose, okay. Yeah, is that I'm sharing my screen. But basically today it's just going to be a basic introduction, and from I think our next class, then we'll start writing actual code. Okay. So today it's just going to be a bit, maybe a bit of few things, all right? Then next is actual codes. Okay. So like in this case, backend development refers to a system, or should I say server programming. All right. So this is where you write your programs to control your server or to manage your server. Could be a web server, it could be just, but in this case, you just be writing programs for web servers. All right. So, and in backend, you of course know there are several ways to handle your backend application. It could be just a normal web view backend, all right, where you render pages to the user, and when user sends requests to a backend server, and then what the backend does, is send back your request in form of pages, all right. And then in some cases, or in most cases, all right, it is an API driven backend where you send an API call to some random servers out there, or to a backend service out there, and it responds to you with your requested content or your requested resource. So your resource could be JSON, or it could be any type of data. So, but in this case, we'll be narrowing our knowledge to how to develop these applications, or how to develop software for these servers. Okay. So, and in this case, we'll be using PHP. Okay. So before we get into what PHP actually is, so I would like to take you the concept of this backend service. All right. So what is actually a backend system? All right. So a backend system is just a server that is able to process a request and send backward a response. Okay. For example, any service that I'm able to send, or any computer that is installed, or that is capable to handle a client's request and send back a response, is regarded as what? A server. All right. So a server most times has lots of resources. It has resources that is accessible by clients. Okay. So client could be just front-end service. Client could be, let's take for example, you could be here and then you're trying to access a server hosted somewhere in America, all right? And then you're using your browser to access that server. In this case, you are referred to as a client. And then the server out there is the machine that processes your information. That processes your request and sends you back the information. So you should see it with that analogy. And in basically, so all we'll be targeting at is how to receive and process HTTP requests. Okay. All right. So you receive a HTTP request, then send back a response to whichever client it is. All right. So for our development. Oh, you can see my screen? Oh, hold on. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's blank actually.
Okay, so we continue. So, like I said, so we would for the local development, you convert your system to a server and use it. Yeah, there are several tools, and of course, PHP, just as it is, has a lot of tools. That's an inbuilt server for you to test up your application. Then, before we head to that, each computer can be made a server, provided it is able to install the required software. All right. Okay. So it doesn't really matter that a specific computer is just made. Yeah, there are some cases where there are some dedicated computers made for server, but then know that you can turn your own personal computer to a server. And then before you should have to be able to program a server. All right. You should be familiar with the command line. Okay. So basically today we just randomly be talking about command lines. Okay. So command lines, like you've seen my screen now, is basically an interface that allows you to control your system. You understand? And it is much more robust, faster, and in some ways it gives you so much control over your system. All right. So it could be probably me. I want to move through files, or I want to move through folders. Okay. I wouldn't have to, like, normally, if I want to move through folders, like you can see my screen. So I'll have to come and click this guy. Okay. And maybe recent, I have to come to this stuff, and I have to come to desktop, or okay. That you notice that I don't have control over the click time. Okay, I don't really have control on things to really do here. Okay, if I have to click, that means I have to double click before this thing's open. Okay, and which may really take some time compared to if I should just move through. Okay, imagine in cases where I have to start from here and move to this place, and possibly maybe move here, move here, move here. I still have to click. Okay. And I'm going inside. All right. It doesn't, to me, I don't think it's really make that much sense. Okay. Whereas I could do something similar in command line by first and foremost trying to check my directory. Okay. Then I can just change directory to whichever, maybe desktop, and I can change. I think I had main in there. Okay, you can see I'm now in main. I don't have to double click again. So it's the same thing like I did here. Okay, I'm here. Like initially when you log in, I'm here. Okay, if I want to get to this place now, I wouldn't have to waste that time again to click into the inner part of the folders. I would just have to, reference the terminal directly. So in this case, yeah. So in case you're wondering how I got that, so in your terminal, it's kind of save your previous command. And if you're a Windows user, all right, can I see how many Windows users we have here? If you're a Windows user, please raise up your hands. Oh, Martins, okay. All right. So basically, I'll be tilting, or I'll be focusing just much more on Linux. Okay. So on Linux, it's the same command, all right, everywhere. But so if you're using Windows, you could download what's this thing called? Git Bash. Yes, Git Bash terminal. All right, it's just like a Linux terminal. All right, so it has Linux command as well. So and yeah, so you use that. We'll be using that if you're using Windows. So you have to get that up. All right. So okay. Okay. All right. So you have to get that up. So, like I said, this should help me to navigate much more faster. All right, in my system, rather than trying to click through. And this gives me a lot of power. All right, a lot of power compared to using normal graphical user interface. All right, to doing things. For example, if I remember, this course is just all about PHP. If I want to, remember I wanted to go to something like workspace. All right, so I just need to type this guy and main/workspace doesn't really exist. Okay. Oh, okay. So all right. So if I should hit it again, so it should be in workspace. All right. So the reason that wasn't working, I was here. I was in this directory, and there is no desktop right there. There's no desktop directory. If I should check this directory, you should see that I have workspace, I have cred, I have lib. All right. So which automatically says that there is no desktop. Okay. So if I have to cd, change into a directory has to be within the parent directory I'm in. All right. So cd is just you're changing directory from a parent directory into a subdirectory. Okay. Then like I said, this gives me a lot of command, a lot of power, all right, to do things. Okay, assuming I just want to, maybe test the code or something, I could just get up a kind of interface that allows me to type my code easily and then get my things up and running. In this case, I'll just leave it. Or maybe I want to execute script, all right? If I want to execute script in some ways, I should be able to easily do that in the terminal, okay? So you cannot really be a backend developer without being able to at least understand the basics of the command line. All right, so command line in all remote servers, they do not have graphical user interface. All right, so all they have is just command lines. Okay, so for your deployments, at many times, I know not all developers do it anyway, but I do it. I write codes at some point, then I still handle deployments in many cases. Okay, so I have to write codes and still be the one to deploy. So it's just like, okay, me doing, and sometimes, if you're good now, so you can, do DevOps practice as well. Okay, so, and so for materials in a Linux, like a Linux commands, so like I said, we'll be, our development mostly will be targeted towards Linux. And before I continue, also I would like to state or inform you that, throughout your stay here, you should be able to at least be able to develop a PHP application. So we are just going to consider PHP, Linux, MySQL, and Apache, right? So it's just like, the normal LAMP stack. So you can Google what the LAMP stack is all about, possibly get materials there, maybe reach or kind of go through it before the class. Okay, then I'll be sending in this GitHub contents, all right? So for you to go through, all right? Then, but before then, like I said, so what actually is Linux? We all know what Linux is now. Is there anybody who doesn't know what Linux is? Oh, nobody. But anyway, let me see you explain. So Linux is a family of free and open source software operating system. And of course, we all know it's free. And it's one sweet thing about it is it's an open source, okay, and built around the Linux kernels, right? So typically, Linux is just is a package, like it's in a package, known as Linux distribution. So you have different distribution, you could call them distros, all right? Like Ubuntu, Mint, or whatever flavor, and so on. Okay, so basically it was developed or first released in 1991. Okay, so meaning Linux has been in existence for 30 years now. When is Linux birthday? 17? That's tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Linux birthday. Okay, tomorrow we'll be saying, okay, we're celebrating straight 30 years of Linux existence. Okay, so why do we use Linux? Linux is much more secured and it's much more faster. Okay, it's faster and it's secured and it's stable. Consider the fact that it's an open source, and you can see it is widely used. I will talk about that later on. So in many cases, so it's just help developer from all over the world, instead of just a single company. So, and one sweet thing about it is it is highly configurable. Okay, and it is not just highly configurable; it is suitable for both single user and multi-user environment. All right. So, and it has a well-defined hierarchy of permissions to allow networking groups on inside. So, this is where a lot of a lot of breaches, a lot of security breaches happen. All right. It happens in the permission hierarchy. All right. So you could do a lot with different user groups. Okay. Okay, you could handle if you're using like Linux, so it is easier for you to handle different user groups and assign them their different permissions in respect to what you intend to do. So now it has very strong set of automate repetitive manual tasks, okay, that you can for example setting up bash and so on, okay. And like I said, I will be sharing up some materials with you, so you can go read much more on Linux, okay. So there are, like I said, there are different types of distros in Linux already. I'm not going to really be talking about that. And if you're asking where Linux is deployed, all right. So majority of your server application, majority, I think I should do some smart or some fast Google search, of how many or what percentage the web Linux uses on web servers. Okay. Hmm. So I got this thing. So sometimes I forgot to check about this thing, but it's fine. Oh. So you can see this now. All right. So this is a very good number. Because it's reliable. So you can see this. So yeah, this should give you at least enough reason why you should dump your Windows and come to Linux. Except, I don't know. I don't want to talk about Mac anyway. Okay. So that's for that. Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, I forgot my mic was muted. So does anybody have any questions so far? So I don't know if you heard the last thing I said. So I was going to show you that Linux has a lot of percentage in the web, okay? And where I opened this, of course you saw this, all right? So I remember vividly that my screen was still shared then. So you have a very good reason why you should dump your system, yeah, like Windows, okay? Windows, we don't have a lot. We don't have many Windows operating system running on remote servers, okay? We have a lot of them running on Linux, okay? Any questions so far? So I'll just assume no question. Okay. The one is asking about upgrades. Upgrades in what? You can unmute your mic and speak. Okay. Adewale. Yeah, they are very, very accessible. They are very accessible. Like I said, it's free. Then for upgrades, it doesn't really perform updates and upgrades like the one Windows does. Okay. So before I moved into Mac, I used to use Linux. Of course, my other system uses Linux. It still uses Linux, and of course, I'm not even thinking of changing it. It's still on Linux. If I have to swap from Mac to any other OS, it will be Linux. Reason, yes, it's very, very accessible, and for upgrade is mutually, we understand, you understand about upgrade, and it is not like heavy as Windows, okay? It's just basic upgrade that is not going to kill you or hit, choke. I hope I've been able to answer your question. Or is there anything else? So you can unmute your mic and speak.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. Because I know at least this is the first time I'll be hearing Linux is widely used ahead of Windows. So that's why I asked.
Oh, so you should at least. Thank God you're hearing it for your first time. Anyway, so maybe you can to certify your grace so you can set online. Anyway, for enterprise, enterprise organizations like that has a lot of that people do a lot of graphical, should I say call them graphical user interface stuff, right? So Windows is widely used, like maybe probably business organizations and so on. But in web, Linux is widely used, all right? So Linux has a whole big share in web servers, okay? Okay, so any other question? So we'll just move. We'll just move to the next thing. So, okay, then we're moving into the command. We're moving into command line basic right now. So likely, we'll be just doing a few practice on how to use command line. Then I'll share some materials with you, and then you will likely. Somebody sent a message. Okay. Are they easy to install? Who is this? Michael. All right, Michael, they are very, very easy to install. All right. So you wouldn't have to start immediately typing commands and installing them. But I know that's what a lot of people, kind of fear. Okay. But in this case, you just install it just the way you install Windows. Okay. You just follow some, some steps, okay, that allows you to do a lot of clicks and so on. Okay. So do a lot of click and so on. And then before you know, you're done. So you have your what is it called? You have your Linux installed. Okay, so it's not, it doesn't, there's no pain in design trying to install Linux. Okay, it's very easy to install. Okay, and you can download it easily. So you can download, like you can just search on Google and then possibly you should get the link. I don't have the direct link I should have shared. Okay. All right. Oh. So yeah. So basically, we have lists like plentiful of resources, or should I say, plentiful of and what's it called, keywords in command lines. So let me share this thing with you. Let me share this material with you, so you can go look through it. Okay. Oh, Rose, well done. This is nice. This is nice. So you can go check that out. So definitely, maybe I'm checking that link out later myself. So yeah, I'll be sharing. Let me share this material with you. Okay, so you can go check it out. So yeah. So I shared a link to everyone, so you could go down. You could go down, get to possibly read or read the basics about command line here, right? So this is a very trusted source anyway. All right, for my books, I like to use GitHub a lot. All right, so there are so many resources on GitHub. In case you think that GitHub stores only code, no, you're wrong already. So they use GitHub. In fact, some of the really resourceful book, all right, are stored in GitHub. Really good resourceful book for developers are stored on GitHub. So you can go check them out. So you can search them out as well to get. All right, so basically, I will start by describing what how to use basic Linux command. Okay, all right. So and there are several types of command. It could be maybe there, which just allows you to create folder. Okay, so the mkdir stands for make directory. Okay, and it accepts some parameters. Okay, and should I say the next parameter or the next parameter it is used, or you use it for, is to allow you to impute the folder name. Okay, and you could, like I had mentioned about change directory, the CD the other time. Okay, and of course, change directory allows you to traverse between different between the different directory. Okay, so and so the next thing is list file. So list file allows you to did I just say list file? So ls, okay, we call it ls, we call it ls, but sometimes you should have to be able to kind of remember this command, like the normal names is, so for you to be able to work easily and fast with them. Okay, you can echo. All right, so in most cases you could see something like this where you echo stop. Okay, maybe when you are trying to install some plugins or some random stuff where you see echo string path. Okay, then you do something like this and whatever slash whatever slash. Okay, This is just a simple command, that allows you to write some certain different stuff, that allows you to write a variable into your global path, okay? So there are so many Linux commands, of which I'm not really going to cover them all, but then the basic of Linux, or the basic of command line, is for you to be able to at least perform basic actions. For example, creating folders, all right? So if I'm in my main directory, so I like to do things for my main directory now. If I want to check which directory I am, so I have to just use pwd. Okay, so you can see I'm in user, Mac, desktop, main. Okay, so basically I can make another directory, maybe call it KodeCamp. Okay, now if I should list files, so I should be able to see KodeCamp there. Oh, and I think okay, so RM, it simply means remove. Okay, remove dash recursive function KodeCamp. Okay, so that allows me to remove folder. But if I want to remove files, so assuming maybe I have this, okay, so this should allow me to create this should allow me to create a file. All right, so touch, maybe probably a lot of persons are familiar, I should be familiar with this. Okay, maybe index.php. Okay, so if I should list this thing, so you should see index.php there. So if I want to remove this thing, so it's simple, index.php. Okay, so I got that file removed. All right, and remember that time I needed to make a directory. KodeCamp. Before then, I made a mistake in it, and yeah. So if I should check now, so we have code. Oh, not even KodeCamp again. Oh. KodeCamp. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct now. So I should now change directory into what KodeCamp, and I can change commands. Okay, I can change commands. Imagine that I did not have a what's it called? I didn't have initially the KodeCamp directory. I can change commands. So like I told you, you can do a lot of things. You understand? So in your command, it allows so much of control. It allows you. In fact, this is from your normal desktop application. This thing right here, okay, they're built from the command lines. These actions are built from the command lines. For example, the click actions. All right. So this is events. They are called events. All right. Each time these events happens, so what then happens? It triggers. It executes this command. Okay, change directory to this guy, and then possibly display it like this and display it like that. Okay. All right. Where is that message coming from? Okay, so and remember that time maybe probably I want to say okay, open a folder, or possibly okay, create a folder, enter into that folder and create a file in it. Okay, or possibly open a folder and execute a file in that folder. Okay, so in this case, what you do is I want to create. We don't have any folder. All right, if I want to create and execute, okay, or possibly create and then open the file. So I should be able to, where am I? So find out. You should always, this should be one of the basic commands at your, at your fingertips. This, that, and this, okay? So this is to just tell you the directory where you are, and this shows the files in the directory you are, okay? So for example, now I want to open KodeCamp and I want to create a file in KodeCamp, at the same time open it using one editor like that. Okay, so I should be able to do something like this. I should be able to do something like this. I can change the commands that after the action is done, for possibly after editing that file, so the thing should run. But then I wouldn't want to bug you that there will be maybe there might be a lot of confusion. But then so I should be able to do something like this: cd KodeCamp then I chain. So touch index.php. And I have a text editor called Nano, okay, and Nano index.php. So this is simple. So like, okay, please get into this KodeCamp directory. All right. So when you get into KodeCamp directory, please create a file called index.php. After you're done creating a file called index.php, please edit that file using Nano. That's edit index.php using this Nano text editor. So if I execute this, so you see this, all right? Now I can write things like PHP hello world. Because this is the basic things a lot of persons do. Okay. So this is sometimes at some points it's not really necessary, but probably we'll talk about it maybe later on. Okay. So I should be able to save this. So saving this, so you use your, for Windows users, for Linux users, you can use Control X. So Control X to bring out this thing. So then it should be able, of course, this is much more pretty like understandable. So I should just type yeah, Y, and that's all. So saving it into, all right. So if I should, now I have PHP installed. So we'll talk about this later on. If I should execute this thing now, so you should be able to see what happens. So you can see hello world. Okay. So now, like to recap, so change directory, get into KodeCamp, create a file called index.php. Inside in the index.php, edit the file using what? My Nano. Okay. I can choose to, for example, I have PHP storm here. Okay. In this case, probably I can just, in fact, let me just, okay, if I want to go back to a directory, so I should be able to dot dot. So a lot of you, I'm sure many of you came from the front end. So you remember when you have to, traverse through directory. For example, when you have to go back one step, or go back 2 steps like this. Okay, you're going back to the previous directory and going back again to the previous directory. Before then, you enter something like my site slope slash maybe you want to load a JavaScript /js index.js. Okay, so I'm sure like from having been a lot of you, so you've spent a lot of time with them. Somebody's asking a question: can you edit the PHP files using Visual Code and run it from there? Yes, I can do same. And yeah, I was going to come down. I don't use PHP. Sorry, I don't use VS Code. Possibly, maybe I should download. No. Oh, so what is what should I recommend for? Okay, just get your VS Code. Don't worry. But then everything is pretty much more simple. Okay. So assuming if I had PHP, if I had VS Code, like Rose, like if I had PHP VS Code, so it should be really much more simple for me. Okay. So like I said, this. Oh, somebody is asking another question. Okay. Oh. Bruce, okay, great. You're welcome. All right. So you are familiar with this, okay, where you have to, move into this thing. So this just simply like change directory. So find this thing here. You're going back. You're doing what? You're going one step backward. All right. First step backward, another step backward. Okay. Then enter into my files. Okay. In this case, where if I check, I think I should be in desktop /main. So it should be go back. So in this case, I'm going out of main. So in this case, I'm going out of desktop, probably maybe to user before desktop. Then inside user, there should be a folder called what? My site. And inside my site, there should be another folder called JS. And inside JS, there should be what? A file called index.js. So what do? I load this into my web page. Okay. I load this into my web page, and my style, I'll be my JS got rendered to the page. Okay. So this is just the simple thing you do with, changing directories. Okay. In this case, I'm not going to execute this. Of course, that's not going to work. But I can do things like this. / possibly, I don't know. Let me just check what is here. PWD. All right. So, and I want to list files. So if I go back 2 steps, so I should be in Mac. Okay. So I want to list what is in Mac. Okay. I just have to ls home /user / Mac. No such directory. Oh, so I shouldn't be, but then easily, like I said, I should be able to go back 1 step, 2 steps, and yeah, I should be in users. 1 step, 2 step, main desktop. So I should be in Mac now. Okay, so correct. So I'm in Mac. So in Mac there is desktop, and there are a whole lot of things. Okay. So assuming I was in desktop now. So assuming I was in desktop, so I just desktop strip. This is where I was. So I can easily now go back here and then maybe enter this time around documents. Okay. Documents. Yeah. Boom. I'm in documents. Okay. So terminal would like to access your documents in folder. No, I don't want you to say a lot of things here, but it won't allow me to, So remember, so in some ways, Mac is just like Linux, okay? So in some ways it is, okay? It has almost the same structure with Linux, okay? Except for Windows that uses a single file directory system. Should I allow? No. Okay, well, just for practice purposes. So there's nothing in my document folder, all right? So if I want to see both hidden folders, so I should do this, and this will allow me to see hidden folders, right? So this will allow me to see files with their extension type, okay, and their security as well, all right? So you can see I have .localized, I have .dot and whatever. This is a hidden file, okay, or a hidden folder. I don't know what this is. Oh, so possibly .localized is not a folder, so should be, or maybe there's just something wrong with it. Okay, so we head back to where we were. Okay, so and somebody was asking me if I can do that with my PHP. I don't have a VS Code, so but I'll use it with the editor in writing my codes. So basically, I have to clear this. I have to just remove this guy. rm-if. All right, so we shouldn't have code map again. Okay. So if I want to open that index with possibly my I use PHP Storm for my development, so I should be able to do something like cd KodeCamp. Yeah, cd KodeCamp. Then okay, so because I'm using Mac, so if you're using Linux, so you should just be able to type the editor you want to use. For example, if you're using VS Code, you should be able to just type, for example, cd KodeCamp and VS Code index.php. Okay, all right. So that should open index.php in your VS Code. Okay, but I'm using PHP. If you're using PHP Storm, you can still do the same way too. So you can change directory KodeCamp and then PHP Storm index dot whatever. Okay, Michael, what is this? Who is drawing in my screen? Michael, why are you drawing my screen? Okay, so all right, so open -na, then So this should open in the PHP Storm. So I probably have to wait a while. So before it gets open. Okay. I think it's open. Oh, sorry. It's not going to open. Reason is that my PHP Storm is already open and it's just going to load some blank pages and then leave it there for me. So I got all projects I had initially loaded up on my PHP Storm closed. So just to cross check, okay, one more is left. Yeah, I think I have, yeah, I finally have all of them removed. Yeah, so finally have all of them now removed. So if I should execute the command again, so it should be, I'm already in KodeCamp. So we have to go back. So we have to make sure that thing works. So execute the same command and boom, my PHP Storm should be launching. Okay, so you see that up. So if you do this with your favorite editor, so you should have the same result. So notice that. So notice that in your various OS, so there's a different way to open your app. But then I told you for Linux user, which I'm really sure of, okay. And now you can see the whole hello world I typed earlier using the Nano editor. All right. So Nano is just like if you're using Windows, there's one editor. Is it text editor? Notepad. Yes. Nano is just like Notepad. Okay. All right. So so now we have this. So we have this command earlier. So like I wanted to say, or I wanted to say. So previously, you remember when I talked about different command for your different OS. For example, you're using Linux, so you wouldn't have to type. You wouldn't have to type this thing. You wouldn't have to type this thing right here. You wouldn't have to type the .ini, okay? Like we don't have to type this open dash, this lengthy command, okay? You just have to type whatever, maybe PHP Storm or VS Code index.php, and then you're up and running, okay? So notice how fast I'm able to do this. So imagine that I have to go and look. I don't even know if there is an option for me that allows me in Mac to open that file using my PHP Storm. I'm not sure. So I'm closing that up. So let me see if I have an option where I can open that. And okay, so I have KodeCamp here. So you see now we have KodeCamp and open with. Okay, so finally I have, but then this is going to be stressful. Like I just come in here and then come and click. It doesn't really sound nice now. It doesn't really sound nice. Okay, so it still works the same, but then I'm able to do it much more faster using the command line. So I have to just cancel this, close this, then we'll talk about this maybe later on. So in our next class, basically all we're doing is just for you, if you don't have PHP installed, please. I need this pool. I need this pool. I need to know how many people are using Linux, how many people are using Windows, and possibly how many people are using Mac, and how many people are using other type of OS.
Okay, so I think what we're going to do is, so for those on the call, maybe instead of putting it up on the chat, I'm just going to drop a post on the web backend. Okay, so just do a poll. So use an icon to indicate if you're using PHP or you're using, if you're using Linux or you're using Windows. Okay, so I'll just put up that on the web backend channel. So let's make sure to make your choice. That will help the trainer. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now the reason for this pool is this is going to help us a bit on Streamlit, because there are different installation procedures and environment configuration procedures for each user. But for that, before this gets more commercial, so and then okay, okay, I have loads of things to do, so right? So I have to get that about anything of reason. So it should be from the is the environment. So that allows you to look and like you look at so you can solve like
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Celestine, for the introductory class. Mr. Celestine, for the introductory class.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can hear me now.
So basically, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me message you privately. Okay, so and then you are not in command lines, you are not just limited to this few commands. Remember when I say you could do just variety of things, and I think I shared some material with you, so to go look into it, right? So endeavor to look at that. So possibly in our next class, it wouldn't be just creating files using touch, or possibly it could be and then you should know that, for example, if you're writing Node, majority of the time, if you're writing any backend or any server-side language, you understand? So majority of them comes with a command line tools, all right, that allows you to do certain things. You could be like booting up servers, okay? For example, all right? Then, and you can create command line tools too, all right? So command line tools are basically tools that, allows the utilization of command lines. All right. So, for example, it could be tools maybe that possibly takes a user, all user types in a system, and return just their name. All right. It could be a tool that checks all user type in a system and returns both their user, their name, and as well as their type. You understand? And possibly last login. Okay. All right. So it could be variety of things. It could be you see, I think it was opportunity to see one tool where it was made using command line, where you have to hack some MTN whatever 3G modem and so on and so forth. So it's actually tools like that, you understand? So there are some other tools that allows you to do various kind of thing, okay? Like anything. Okay, you can write a custom tools, for example, for PHP that allows you to automatically runs some database query. For example, creating of tables, deleting of tables, creating of database, and database manipulation. So you wouldn't have to use them directly on your view. You understand? You're using them on command line. Okay. So and you, like I said, you should know just beyond this touch and make the. I can't talk about other ones. You understand? If you get confused, of course. But then I want to keep things very minimal. So, but then endeavor to read up that material, okay, and then at least come up with maybe in our next class. I expect some question, and then you ask them. We get through. We get through it. Then I was going to talk about Cloud9. Oh, sorry, not Cloud9. I was going to talk about what's it called? I was going to talk about PHP Sandbox. So initially, and the essence of the pool, please, the pool is very important. This will help you to streamline on how to handle each environment setup for all of you. Okay. So in this case, for today, I've been talking about just Linux. Okay. All right. I know, of course, I know that there was Windows user, but I didn't exactly know how many we had. Okay. So, and if you, to make things much more easier, I would recommend if you can dual boot your system or you have a virtual environment that you can install Linux. Okay, please do. All right. So this is because, like the saying, LAMP. So you're now I assume now you understand LAMP, the Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP stack. Okay, LAMP is a stack, and of course, it is not. I wouldn't call it. It is not one. It's actually originally LAMP, right, which stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So it makes. In fact, Linux is specifically developed for this thing. All right, it's specifically developed for this thing, and PHP initially is just developed for what? Linux. All right. And not just, though it can run in Windows, okay, but it's, like the stack goes, okay, or not like I cannot use it in Windows, but I would prefer, we all go in lab, right? This will give you a lot of benefits, like when I talked about deployments, okay, and so on. A lot, like I mentioned the numbers. I think I had shown you the numbers of the percentage number of what Linux is holding in the web, okay. All right, so that should be put into consideration. So then the next, I saw one a tiny sandbox that allows for a quick execution of PHP code, and we'll be using that. Probably we might be using that in the next class. So pending when everybody's development environment is set up. Then for assignments and so on, so we will be using pending for now. I'll announce that later on. So let me show you what PHP Sandbox looks like. So need to get this enough. All right, so this was the statistics I was showing you earlier. So so this is basically their homepage. So that is trying to load up. Okay. So I can easily remove this thing. I can remove this thing very easily. Okay, and yeah, if I click this should work. And this is another very important part where I have to select my PHP version. Okay, so PHP 8 is different from PHP, significantly different from PHP 7.4. Okay, and although 7.4, this one's doesn't have a huge difference, but this to this is a very huge difference. So example with this, there's a lot of introduction. Okay, and you can see our result here. So I can just remember where I had to go. Equal hello world. And if I should go hello world, I should get okay. So yeah, then possibly I want to do something like or maybe HW. Or maybe probably something like this. So yeah, I should get exact same result. Okay, so you see this? So this is fine. Don't worry about this. Say, why is he putting variable? Okay, we'll talk about this. So once we start up, and then once we've gone deep into it. Okay, so you can look through this. So this is just what PHP Sandbox looks like. So you can please sign up some other time. Maybe we might have to share some things. Okay, all together. So for a start, so this is where we will start. Then before then we'll finally move fully into our development environment. So while we'll be talking about variable types and basic data types and so on. So we likely be using this thing, okay? So that probably our next class will be using this thing. Then maybe our third or fourth class will now move fully to development environment where we will be writing a lot of things, okay? So it's 10:12. So I would like to take some questions in case there are any. So is there any question for now? So I'll assume no question, or does anybody have any question? Okay. Should I give an assignment? How many people want an assignment?
Okay, Mr. Celestin, no, please don't give an assignment. I think they still have the web assignment for the week. So from next week, you can start giving assignments. Thank you.
Okay, so so kudos to I can build you out. So I love to give assignments. So this will help mostly in at least understanding the previous lesson or the previous lecture. So basically for today, recap. So we've covered basic command line introduction and just basic introduction to what PHP is. I think I had told you that PHP is an open source scripting language, open source scripting language used for web servers. Okay. So in this case, what am I saying? PHP is widely used. So it is an open source scripting language, of course. And PHP is really used, it's widely used. So you may be thinking that a lot of people keep saying that PHP is dead. PHP, they keep screaming that PHP is dead. But PHP still have so many, popular web platforms using them. Example is Facebook. All right. And Adewale wants to say something. So yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. You made mention of, I think towards the end of the class, you made mention of a stack. Is it main stack now?
Okay.
The LAMP stack, yeah. I saw an article online yesterday I was reading, and I think that was where I first came across that particular stack, and it was captioned like an old developer stack.
Yes.
So I want you to elaborate on that, like.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I understand. So when the article made it that it's an old developer stack, it means it's been in existence for a while. Yeah, it's been in existence for like I said, it's been in existence for so long a time. Okay, all right. So and it's one of the most popular. All right, and it is easier. It is so much more beginner friendly. I don't think there is any other backend framework or backend programming language that is as beginner friendly as or in fact, I don't think there's any other stack that is beginner friendly like the LAMP stack. All right, the LAMP stack is beginner friendly, and it is old. It has much of, old people, and of course, when I talk about old people, I'm talking about experienced people. When they say it is old, it doesn't really mean that it is not usable. It means it has a whole lot of reasonable experience. There is just a lot of experience around it, and because it is open source, experience is guaranteed. Okay, have I answered your question?
Yes, you have.
Okay, all right. So PHP uses Facebook. Two other people are raising their hands, so I need to find out who that. Okay, I will drop your hand. When we more, India. Hello, when you raised your hand.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good
Can
morning.
you hear me? Yeah, thank you very much. Your lecture this morning has been really enlightening. So something similar to what the last what's it called questionnaire asked. So would you prefer us to use LAMP over XAMPP?
Okay.
That's one. And because I'm using a Windows system. Now, having XAMPP on my system, right? Can I download my SQL server individually and use that along with Apache? So I think these are my two questions.
Okay. Now, let me answer your question. A lot of people, in fact, what is XAMPP? XAMPP is an application that buckles both, a Linux, or that is a development environment, you understand, that comes with MySQL, an Apache server, and as well with PHP, you understand, with a touch of Linux somehow, you understand. But so XAMPP stands for both Windows, Mac, and what's it called, Linux, like mostly, but it's majorly used as, both Windows and Linux, all right? So it's an application.
Right.
But what is best to do is to install these things globally, all right? So remember when I told you that, when you're using an application, you are just limited to what the application is built for. But when you're using the command line, you have so much control, wider control over things, you understand? So for example, if you install your MySQL globally, you install your PHP globally, you install what again, Apache globally, and you install, if you are using Windows, whatever, but Windows works, and you install these three things globally, you have plenty controls over them, you understand?
Okay.
So one of the things you will find when you're using XAMPP, if you're using XAMPP application, you cannot host your PHP file directly on, for example, your desktop, or you cannot create a custom folder. You have to always host it on the or htdoc.
Right.
You understand? But when you're using global environments, you understand, on your local development environment, you are able to host any script anywhere.
Right. And that gives you more like a developer's interface, because you're able to actually interact with the command line effectively.
Yes, you're able to interact with command line, and you can tweak just anything you want to tweak. You have access to everything.
Okay. So after this call, I'm going to uninstall my XAMPP.
Don't install your XAMPP. Install PHP and make sure it works, and install all the whole necessary components first before you migrate. I'm of the opinion that not total migration. So while you want to migrate, so set up what you're migrating to, what you're migrating to be stable and functional. Then before you can now fully.
Or before I can install XAMPP, right? Okay. Yeah. All right, that's fine. Would you give us resources to do these things?
Resources to install PHP and so on and so forth.
Apache, yeah, effectively, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, like I said, our next class will likely be centered around that. So making sure.
Okay, around is okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Yeah, I was going to talk about PHP, just a brief introduction. Okay. Remember, I didn't talk about PHP. So PHP is one of the widely used server-side scripting language. All right. So it's used in many popular web platforms like Facebook, Yahoo, Wikipedia, and just a lot of them. All right. So it's very simple. It's very, very friendly. It's very beginner friendly. All right. And it's very easy. All right. But in some ways, it's very, very structured. All right. Structured. And of course, it is a loosely typed language. All right. So I don't want to talk about, strictly typed and non-strictly typed language. I mean, probably we'll talk about it in a very, very, once we've gone in deep, so we can talk about that. All right, so what is the acronym of PHP, or what does PHP stand for? So PHP is simply, stands for hypertext preprocessor. All right, so a lot of persons like to use it, hypertext processor, but originally it is hypertext preprocessor. Okay, all right. So it is an interpreted language, okay? So you don't need any kind of compiler, all right? So you always need a web server for you to install. Of course, you can convert any local system or any system at all to being a web server to be able to use PHP, all right? So just what you need is install PHP, just like you install every other this thing, okay? And you're up and running. So PHP mostly is executed in the server side, all right? So it is not executed in the browser, it's executed in the server side. You understand? It is what it does is it sends resource, okay? You remember that your browser reads what? I'm sure the front-end team might have taught you about that. The browser just interprets HTML with JavaScript, all right, and CSS, okay? So what PHP does is it sends resource to the front end. So resource could be different type. It could be XML, it could be JSON, it could be HTML, it could be maybe the HTML or whatever. It could be even be text, just whatever, okay? So there are very few resources of which I've talked about. So did I mention this? PHP is free. It's free and it is open source. That's why it is beautiful and that's why it is awesome. Okay, I love using open source stuff, and syntax are very, very easy. Okay, it's easy and it has a very good learning curve, very fast learning curve. Okay, all right. So of course it's cross-platform, and there are other, a lot of other benefits. Okay, and there's just then talking about jobs, and there's just a lot of jobs around PHP, and talking about where you could actually use it and so on. Like I mentioned that plenty sites are using it, like plenty applications are using it, and you can use it in plenty all these CMS, like content management system, maybe WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and so on, or they use this PHP. Okay, so you can, this is one of the places to deploy your PHP skill. And yeah, talking about speed, it's faster than JSP. That's Java Server Page, it's faster than ASP. Okay, your .NET. Yes, I'm proud to say it, and I'll still see it. Okay, so PHP is fast compared to some of these scripting languages that I've just mentioned. Okay, so you can use them in creating blog, full-fledged web app in the sun, all right, and maybe a full-fledged server-side applications. Okay, all right. So basically, our next class, so we'll just be talking about how to use PHP. You understand? So how we can install. Next class will be basically first how we are able to install our development environment for PHP, and definitely how we can use PHP to develop some certain applications. Okay, so and to this, so I think this should mark the end of the class. This should mark the end of the class, and I don't know if anybody has any question. Oh, Rose, thanks. Okay, then just for a little of information, and I just need, please, your prerequisite for being here, you need to at least be familiar with Git. So if you are sure that you have issues with your Git, please go back, solve that up, and then because a lot of things, yeah, we'll talk about that once you go. But then that's one of the prerequisites. Okay. So thank you. Yeah, Adewale, hello. Yes, go on. You can unmute your mic and speak. I'm listening. So this is question time. So anybody, you can speak now. You can run Linux OS on any virtual machine. Or any virtual machine software. So I think there's this one other virtual machine I used to use that I've forgotten the name, very tiny. I've really forgotten the name. So you can use Linux on any virtual machine software. Okay. All right. So I assume there's no other question. So we move up to the next thing. Yeah, move up to the next thing. So Ike, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Celestin, for the class, and thank you everyone for joining in. Okay, so yes, your journey to PHP has begun, so make sure to get everything you need ready, get yourself set. I believe the time of the class actually works for you guys, so I think probably might just stick to the classes, but just look out for information on the web backend.